told your friend you're not okay? And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way.
Hello and welcome to Legal Basics with Cyber Law Global, and my name is Tian. My goodness, it's been a whole year of employment law from May of 2021 until today. But I'm so happy because we've gotten a lot of feedback from you guys, so it means you're learning and we did not do it in vain. So we start on the election law series because it is that time every 5 years, and we want to understand the laws, our obligations as voters. The ones who want to run for elections want to know whether they are qualified, and in case a person is aggrieved, where they go to. Now, before we get into the elections, I'm gonna give you a story. So a long time ago, long time ago, maybe a few thousand years after Adam or whatever first man in your religion, there were very few people in the world. The world was vast. So people were few. If you wanted a place to stay, you would just go and say, you know, I like the place by the river. So you would take that one. Another person would say, no, for me, I like mountains. You'd go and take a place at the mountain. At that time, there was no law. So if you woke up in the morning and you wanted an apple, and the apple is next to the neighbor, you just go get a few apples. The neighbor is angry, but there's no law. Yeah. So your son turns 18, 19, 20, they see your neighbor's 10-year-old, they say, you know, I'm going to take that one for a wife. So you say, oh, no, this is not allowed. Why? There's no law. So with time, people started to get out of control because there's no law, there's no government, there's no body to enforce anything, because people are not arranged in societies because there's no government. With time, you can imagine the chaos because everybody was a law to themselves. So people came together and said, hey, we can't live like this. You know, yesterday I had built, somebody came to my house and they took it for themselves. I need somebody to protect my property. Somebody said, oh, you know, even me, my wife was stolen after 20 years. Hey, we need a law. We really need a law. So how are we going to come up with laws? Let's decide what our laws are. Let's decide what is going to govern us. Then after that, who is going to enforce? Okay, let's make an enforcement agency. So with time, society was arranged into groups that were ascertainable, and then these groups came up with governing bodies, and then governing bodies came up with rules, and then the rules, they came up with enforcement units for these rules. That story is the social contract theory. The social contract theory basically says that before, man was a lot unto themselves, but with time they had to give up some of their freedoms to a governing body that they had made, so that this governing body would be able to protect them. Now, it is based on this social contract theory that the concept of democracy was born. So what is democracy? Democracy is the concept whereby sovereign power lies with the people. So it means that group that decides who is going to be our government, who is going to make laws for us, who is going to enforce them. That group is the one that has the most power. Now, democracy can take two shapes. It can take direct democracy and it can take indirect democracy. Indirect democracy, we all decide. So if we're going to choose a president, we all come together and say, okay, we are voting and majority of us are picking the president. That's direct democracy. But it also takes the decision-making process when we're going to say, so are we going to join the East African community? If all of us are going to vote, then that is direct democracy. In indirect democracy, we realize that sometimes the numbers are too big and we can't ask everyone, can we get into this bilateral agreement? Can we alter our border? So what we do is that people choose representatives to make these decisions on their behalf. But those representatives have to come back to the people who carry the ultimate power, and those people are the ones that instruct them. So for example, in Kenya, we have representatives who sit in the National Assembly, who sit in the Senate, who derive their power from the people. And then these people are going to make decisions. For example, in Parliament, they're going to decide which laws are going to apply to the people. But ultimately, the power lies with the people. So welcome to the Election Law series. As you go to the vote, remember that the power lies with you. If you want to change anything about your life, the power lies with you. So you have the responsibility to pick the right candidates, the candidates with the right capacity who can bring the changes that you want. That will be all for today. We are very, very excited about this series. We look forward to your feedback. Please write to us at Cyro Global, info@cyroglobal.com. That's info@cyroglobal.com. You can also write to us through our old Gmail address, that is cyrologlobal@gmail.com. Before we close our broadcast, we would like to say thanks to Mushiri Frames, who is our videography crew, and to Geria and Goge Advocates for facilitating the shooting of this series. Keep well. Bye-bye.